Mi piace la pizza. I like pizza. Mi piacciono I dolci. I like sweets. So here, I translated these two sentences with I like in English, but in Italian I used two different words. Mi piace, mi piacciono. The verb to like, piacere in Italian, is a bit tricky. And so in this episode we are going to dive into how to talk about your likes and dislikes in Italian the correct way. Ciao, sono Margherita, host of the Italian Grammar Made Easy podcast. Download this episode guide at italianmatters.com/9. Today we are talking about the verb piacere, which can be tricky, can be difficult, but I will make it easy for you here. Let's go straight to the point, dritti al punto. First, the verb piacere, in Italian, requires an indirect object. The indirect object is usually a noun that is affected by an action, by a verb, but it's not the noun that does the action. So, for example, io ti do il libro, I to you give the book. Io, is the subject, the person who does the action. Ti, to you, is the indirect object, is that noun, that person in this case, that is affected by the action. And so in Italian you need to have that indirect object with the verb piacere. Let's see the conjugation in the present tense of the verb piacere for when you like one thing. Mi piace, I like. Ti piace, you like. Gli piace, he likes. Le piace, she likes. Ci piace, we like. Vi piace, you all like. Gli piace, they like. So as you can see, we keep piace, but we change the first word verb, indirect object. So for I like, mi. You like, ti. He likes, gli. She likes, le. And so on. You're going to use piace when you're talking about liking one single thing. Una sola cosa. Let me repeat this again. You're going to use piace, the word piace, with the indirect pronoun when you like just one thing, when you're talking about one thing. For example, mi piace il film. I like the movie. It's one movie. I'm talking about liking one single movie. So I use piace. If I literally translated this sentence to English, so mi piace il film, it would be the movie is liked to me. So here, the subject is il film, piace is the verb, and as we said, mi is an indirect object. Now, when you're talking about liking more than one thing, instead, use piacciono. And the good news is that the indirect object stays the same. So you still have mi, ti, li, le, ci, vi, gli, and then these are followed by piacciono. So mi piacciono, ti piacciono, gli piacciono, le piacciono, ci piacciono, vi piacciono, gli piacciono. So as you can see, we kept the same indirect object, but we changed the verb from piace, which is used for one single thing, to piacciono, which is used when you're talking about liking more than one single thing. This is the main difference, the key point of today's episode. To talk about your likes and dislikes, you're going to use piace if it's one thing, piacciono if it is more than one thing, with the indirect object. Mi, ti, gli, le, ci, vi, gli. Ora vediamo un esempio con piacciono. Mi piacciono I fiori. I like the flowers. Flowers, fiori, plural. So as we said, we use piacciono. If I said instead, I like the flower, just one, then it would be mi piace il fiore. I like the flower, it's one, so I use piace. So again, the indirect object stays the same, the verb changes, it's either piace or piacciono if it is one thing or more than one thing that you like. Now, of course, if you're saying she likes the flowers, the mi changes to le, because with she likes, you're always using the le indirect object, and then the verb stays the same. Sì, va bene? Another question that comes up often with Italian learners and the verb piacere is verbs. So what if I want to say I like to dance? I'm not really talking about things, about liking one thing or more than one thing. It's a verb. So when you're talking about liking a verb, so I like to dance or I like to sing, you're always using the piace form. So I like to dance, mi piace ballare. I like to sing, mi piace cantare. And if you want to say I like to dance and sing, it's still mi piace. Mi piace ballare e cantare. Ok? Piace and piacciono are in the present tense. If you want to talk about liking something in the past or in the future, piace and piacciono have to change accordingly. So, for example, in the past, it can be either mi piaceva, I liked one thing, mi piacevano, I liked more than one thing, or for the past you can also use the passato prossimo. Mi è piaciuto, one thing, mi sono piaciuti, more than one thing. As you remember, the past tense in Italian can be expressed with imperfetto or passato prossimo. Check out episode 4 for a detailed explanation of when to use one or the other. If you want to talk in the future, so with the future tense, then again you have to change piace and piacciono to the future. So piace becomes mi piacerà, I will like, for one thing, and piacciono becomes mi piaceranno, for more than one thing. And as I previously explained, in English, it still translates to I will like. Bene, ora, what if you want to talk about your dislikes? So, I don't like flowers. To create negative sentences in Italian, we add the word non, usually right before the verb. But here, you need to place the non right before the indirect pronoun. So, it's not mi non piace. The non is not right before the verb, but instead it's right before the indirect object, which means that it becomes non mi piace. Mi stays close to the verb. Non goes right before the indirect object. Let's see another example. Mi piace il mare. I like the sea. If I want to say I don't like the sea, then I need to add non. Non goes right before the indirect object. Non mi piace il mare. I don't like the sea. The same goes with mi piacciono. So, mi piacciono I gatti. I like cats. If I want to say I don't like cats, then the non goes right before me. Non mi piacciono I gatti. Sì? Ci siamo? Benissimo. Ora, quick recap, un riassunto di questa spiegazione. The verb piacere in Italian means to like, and it requires an indirect object. The indirect objects are mi for I, ti for you, gli for he, le for she, ci for we, vi for you all, and finally gli for they. These are the indirect objects that you're going to use with the verb piacere. If you like just one thing, you use piace. If you like more than one thing, you use piacciono. Piacere in the past tense becomes mi piaceva or mi piacevano, and mi è piaciuto or mi sono piaciuti. In the future tense, it becomes mi piacerà or mi piaceranno. To talk about dislikes, you simply have to add non right before the indirect object, so before the mi, ti, gli, le, and so on. The rest stays the same. Benissimo. I have 3 action steps for you. 1. Write me on Instagram and use what you learned today. Write me 2 sentences. 1 about one thing that you like, and 2 about 2 things that you don't like. So you're using both piace, piacciono, and you're talking about a like and a dislike. You can either use the past, the present, or the future. 2. Download the guide at italianmatters.com/9. This guide summarizes today's episode and can help you in writing the 2 sentences to me on Instagram. 3. Take the quiz at the same link, italianmatters.com/9. It's a short quiz, just 5 questions, and it's auto-graded, so you'll get an instant score and it'll really test you on what you learned today. Benissimo, ti ringrazio di essere stato o stata qui con me oggi. I thank you for being here with me today e ci vediamo la settimana prossima. Grazie mille, buona giornata e buone feste. Ciao!